Well, this was not how I expected to start this video. I was just on my way from Denver to Crested Butte to go meet up with some friends who were camping out there for the next couple of days. And just a few moments ago, I had a tire pressure light come on and everything seemed normal, so I pulled over. Everything seemed fine. I checked the pressures. They were all within about 1 psi of each other. And I just came around the last turn, descending from a really high pass, over 12,000 feet, and my flat blew out. So I'm pulled over on the side of the road right now. This is unfortunately something that I was hoping did not happen for a long time or ever. It is my first flat. And the biggest reason that I say that is because my spare tire is currently under that platform. Now, it's not the end of the world. I have the ability to change it, but it's just so inconvenient, and it's raining. Like today of all days. I think you guys get the point, but what you didn't see was the kind gentleman who stopped to help me change my tire in a matter of minutes instead of what probably would have taken me about an hour. Okay, update. It looks like I'm in a Windows desktop. I am not. I am on what's considered a rough road. Apparently, Apple Maps thinks that this is the best way to get to a major destination, Colorado. It's besides the point. We're on our way. We're heading to camp after getting off the phone with my friend. Everything in Crested Butte is going to be closed. We've determined it's already 6 o'clock. We got on the road just after 11. I cannot believe this drive has taken us almost 7 hours. But between the bad weather and the flat tire and stops for bathroom breaks, it's just been slow going. We are about 20 miles out, so I'm hoping it takes us less than an hour to get there, and I'm just gonna limp it because whether I park in town tonight or I park in the forest with some friends for the next few days and wait until like Monday to get a new tire, I don't think the end result is gonna be that different as long as I'm careful and I don't blow this spare. So cross your fingers for us. The skies are at least clear now. The sun looks like it's coming out, and I'm so excited to see my friends after a crazy, crazy day. Well, in true Colorado fashion, that sunny, beautiful shot that you just saw of my friend Abby, who you'll meet a little bit later on in this video, quickly turned into rain and sideways grass and clouds and dust storms. So Tara and I are currently sheltering, I don't know if you guys can see her, in the back of the car. And it's definitely not ideal. It's not set up for chilling on a rainy day, but I would say we did pretty well considering we just had a flat like an hour ago. I'm gonna go ahead and settle in for some work, I think, for a few hours. And then tonight, we, unknowing to us, pulled up, and this bus over here, Appa the bus, is also parked here. So our friends Maggie and Sahil, who we've known off and on the road for a couple of years now, are also parked here, and it was just a complete coincidence that we all ended up in the same spot. So I think we have a long, fun night ahead of us. We're gonna go ahead and get some rest, and then hopefully the weather will be clear by the time we're all ready to get on with the night.
One of the guys who was on the team.
The horse race.
Yeah, so you know what steeplechase is, and they would get bags.
Well, the rain has officially stopped, and it has turned into the most spectacular night out here in Crested Butte. We're still with Maggie and Sahil and our friend Abby over in the ProMaster, and are about to set in for a night of games and cookies, which is kind of crazy to think about considering we're all the way out here in the freaking mountains, like above 11,000 feet. I've never been to this part of Colorado, believe it or not. I don't know why it took me so long to get here, so I'm really glad that Abby recommended it. Just look. Look at these freaking flowers behind me. I know you can't really see them right now, so maybe I'll overlay some clips, but it is like peak spring here somehow, even though it's end of July, and I'm living for it. Speaking of cookies though, I'm about to bake cookies out of my Subaru in the freaking mountains above 11,000 feet. And this seems like a great time to tell you how I'm going to do it. with the Bluetti AC240. And so while I put this in the oven, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the product and why I love it so much, as well as our new 350 watt solar panel, which has been an absolute game changer for recharging on days like today when the Colorado weather has been very hit or miss, to say the least. I've now been using the Bluetti AC240 for 3 months, I think. I actually ended up getting it back when I was in Colorado Springs, just about to get off of the road and starting my truck camper shell build, if any of you remember that era. I ultimately obviously ended up selling that and am now back on the road and in Denver in a Subaru, which means that I don't have a built-in power station. It's really difficult to do that when you're in a car. Now, if I weren't working, if I weren't going back to school, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going out into the woods and not having service, not having power, and just being completely disconnected. And sometimes I still do. But more often than not, I'm out here with friends. I'm out for multiple weeks at a time when I need to work. Eventually, I'm going to go back to school in August and I'm going to need service for Starlink, or nights like tonight when I just really want a sweet treat with my friends, like cookies on the side of a mountain. Now, I've tried a handful of their products already over the past few years, but I would say that so far the AC240 is my favorite for a few key reasons. One, its slim, narrow design allows me to fit it behind the back seat of this car, which is a really tiny space if you've ever been in a Subaru before. Second, it recharges ultra fast, which means whether I'm plugging it into the wall at home or I'm using my new 350 watt solar panel, I can expect to stay easily topped up or to recharge it from zero in no time. One of my favorite features about the AC240 so far though, living in Colorado with our extreme weather and temperature changes, is its IP65 rating, which makes it water resistant and dust proof, meaning that if it's snowing or raining outside, I can leave it outdoors and not have to worry about bringing it back into the Subaru wet, snowy, or cold. And I also don't have to worry about the station breaking while it's outside. In the future, when I'm getting back into a build, I'm also really excited to be able to keep it with me no matter what the dust or wind conditions might be, because I know at the end of the day, I can just dust it off and it'll be as if nothing ever happened. Now, my most recent addition to this power setup on the road is the 350 watt solar panel. I recently had two 200 watt panels, which you might be thinking, that's more power, how is this an upgrade? But going to one panel has not only simplified my setup, just having one panel and two connectors to connect together, but it also has an ultra high conversion efficiency, converting up to 23.4% of your power. Right now, for example, it is, to be truthful, the next day. The sun is out and shining, and the panel, rated again up to 350 watts, is pulling over 320, which if you've ever used a solar panel before, whether it's been top mounted or freestanding like this one, you know how impressive that is. With this new 350 watt panel, I never have to worry about running out of power again. As long as the sun is out, the car is running, because this panel is able to keep not only my Starlink running, but allow us to cook on the side of the mountain and even recharge a van or a car if we needed to, all on one 100% charge. So whether you're looking to power your next off-grid adventure, maybe you live someplace where you need backup power, or you just want to have peace of mind for outages in the summer heat, be sure to head down to the link in my description down below to check out the Bluetti AC240 and PV350 for yourself. They also have a ton of other models, so if you're looking for something with a little more power or a little less power, you'll find something that's going to fit your needs there. And thank you again to Bluetti for sponsoring today's video and Mountainside cookies. That is really cute. Oh my god. Wait guys, they smell so good. Oh my god, yeah. That's so good.
Thank you, Dorma Centuries.
Fuck the cookies.
Cookie monster.
Oh yeah, look at that. Ready?
Is it gonna break?
Thanks, Bluetti.
This weekend ended up being one of those where I just wanted time to stand still. Spending time with friends in a beautiful location, being lighthearted and silly like kids again, was something my soul deeply needed, and I don't think I was even aware of it at the time.
Tired of living on the road, constantly in an upswing battle?
Alright, so luckily the tire shop allowed us to actually drop the tires since I have my spare on. I don't know if you guys can see. So we were able to drive just a couple minutes down the road. I picked up a little sandwich and some chips, and we're heading to the river because It's hot out here. There are no like breweries or cafes that are dog friendly, unfortunately, that I could find in this area. So we got our own snacks and we're gonna go hopefully enjoy a cooler day by the river while they sort out the tire.
Whew. Coffee Mate and instant is just really not a vibe. This weekend was incredible. The time I got to spend with friends, the gentleman who helped me change my spare before a rainstorm came through and hit me on Cottonwood Pass, the relaxation, the time away from the city, the cooler weather, all of it just felt so good. I don't know if you can tell, I am kind of wrecked from the weekend. Not great sleep, lots of adventures, a little too much sun, and now a headache that I'm unfortunately sporting. But before I head home, I just wanted to connect with you all on some things that I've really been mulling over and thinking about recently, because I know that you guys are so good at picking up when things are amiss or changing. Speaking of being on the road in the Subaru and trips like these, I think I'm finally getting to the point. I'm realizing more and more. We've collectively, I think, spent about a month and a half in the Subaru now on the road total, if you put all of our weekends and week-long trips and 2-week-long trips together. And it is an incredible little adventure mobile. The reason we originally moved to Denver, though, was to get some temporary stability. And I know that I mentioned that, but I think a lot of people missed it. They thought that I was getting off the road permanently and I was just going to be a weekend warrior forever now. And you know, I guess it's still not out of the realm of possibility, but that was definitely never the plan. Between Tara's health, my own health, a lot of things that we had going on in the background that you guys don't even know, a lot of, unfortunately, that are more personal, in addition to the school thing being on the table, and having been on the road for a couple years now between builds, it was just feeling like time for some stability. And I think that was still correct. I don't regret getting off the road whatsoever. Having a home base has been such a privilege and a luxury, knowing that I can sit here with you today with my like 5-day-old hair and this afternoon go home and get a shower and clean up from our trip is awesome. But I think a big part of the reason why that's awesome is because living in the Subaru really is this, like, I don't know, it just like declines over the course of a trip. Whereas when I was in a rig full time, on a day like today where I need a shower and to do trash and to, you know, do my laundry and get cleaned up, that was something that I could do on the road. Whereas now in the Subaru, I feel like I need to go and reset. I think a big part of that, though, is also attributed to the fact that it's just such a small space. Keeping up with Tara and my grime, all of our stuff being strewn everywhere, and nothing really having a place, but more so just being dumped into the car, really doesn't make it that peaceful of an experience, if I'll say. Drinking Coffee Mate and instant coffee every morning has not really been the biggest vibe. I'm a big routine person, and having a routine on the road is already hard enough, but having it in a car, at least for me, has been pretty impossible. And so with all of that in mind, I know that you guys a couple of weeks ago heard me say, I think it's time to start considering getting back on the road. This is not something that I'm in a rush to do. I have 6 months, I have a year, I have basically until next May if I really want it, which is when my lease will end technically if I don't terminate early, to figure all this out, whether I'm building something, buying something, a combination of both. And I'm so grateful to have that time and space to really sit and think about things and not rush. And there's a lot to think about. I think the longer I've been on the road, the harder it gets to pick a rig because there are so many pros and cons, and there's also no perfect vehicle or perfect home on the road, right? I've been considering getting a little trailer. I already have the Subaru, let's just pull it behind. But then spots even as easy access as this, which are no concern at all for the car, a bus, a box truck, any of the above, definitely not the truck, they would be impossible to get to. And I think it might just be a little bit too limiting for the type of travel and camping that we like to do. When I think about getting a bus, I really didn't love the bus that I had in the past, not because of the build, but because of the mechanical issues. And I feel like I've learned a lot since then, so it's something I've been considering. Having a little bit more space, getting something maybe that's a little bit higher up with a better engine, a better transmission, etc., to save some money, hopefully, in mechanicals after we get on the road. But then the bus comes with this stereotype, and if you're not on the road, you maybe don't know or haven't experienced this for yourself, but when I was on the road in my bus, I was getting hassled pretty consistently when I was in towns, like even Bend, Oregon, for example, which is generally speaking a pretty friendly road life town, I think most people would say. I had a lot of issues. I was parked in parking lots getting groceries and having people come up and bang my hood telling me that I was loitering when I'd spent over $100 on food from their store. Things like that just didn't make living in the bus super comfortable. And so although it might fit our needs if I got something smaller and more reliable, is that something I really want to put myself back into? You know, that lifestyle, that constant looking over your shoulder. Then I think, okay, budget-wise, what makes the most sense? Either a trailer, because I already have the car, or a low roof van. Low roof vans are great, they're budget friendly usually, and they're semi-reliable if you get one that has lower miles with a solid engine and transmission. The problem with that though is whatever I get into next, the goal of it at least, is to really be in it until I find my place in the world, to settle down and either build something or buy something, or a community that I feel is worth getting off the road for, like mostly permanently. I mean, maybe I'll still have an adventure rig, but I will be officially off the road. And I don't know that a low roof van is going to give that to us, just because, similar to the Subaru, not being able to stand up and move around, I mean, right now it's okay because I'm outside and the weather is good, but being on the road year round in something that I couldn't stand up in with a dog especially, I think could be really challenging, just because on bad weather days, where do you go? You just sit. You can't stand, you can't really move around. And I don't know that that's going to be conducive to a happy life, a happy and healthy life on the road for me. And I could do this for hours, go through every single rig and reasons why they are or aren't going to work for us, but I just wanted to share this all with you because I know y'all are really good at telling when something is maybe a little bit off, or when I'm deep in thought or going through a transition, and I feel like I'm kind of in the thick of it right now. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start more seriously looking at and test driving rigs, not necessarily to buy right now, but just to really put to test, I guess, some of those things that I have in my mind that are either stereotypes or limitations, to see whether or not they feel true to me. And I don't know yet if I'm going to be sharing all of this in live time, not because I don't want to share it, but because if I'm being honest, I really want to make this decision for myself, because even though folks, you all care so deeply, I know, about where we end up and what we do and making sure that we end up in the right place, the right time, and the right rig, I think that I need to decide all of this on my own, and I don't know that I really want outside input on my decision, if that makes sense, which is hard to do when you share your life pretty transparently on the internet. I didn't want to keep it completely secret from you though. It is happening. I am getting further along in this process, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll have a more clear idea of what direction we actually are heading. Thank you all so much for watching. I know this video was kind of a weird one, a little all over the place between losing my tire and hanging out with friends and now coming back here and saying my whole life is changing again. But that's how it's felt to me too. So if that's how it seems, at least it's representative of what's actually going on. All of that said, I will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for being here as always. We'll catch you hopefully on Sunday.